Long before Ragnarok, before the howling wolves devour the sun and moon, there was another fire, one not born of chaos but kindled by fear, greed, and something divine. From the golden mists of Norse myth, where time coils like a serpent and destiny is carved into the roots of Yggdrasil, came a woman wrapped not in armor but in allure. Her name whispered like a curse, Gullveig. Burned alive 3 times by the gods, and yet she rose, again and again and again. She did not scream. She did not plead. She watched as the flames curled around her, and when the fire died, she stood among the ashes, changed, gleaming, and terrible. Her arrival did not just unsettle the heavens, it shattered them. This is not just a tale of myth, it is a warning etched in flame, the story of the woman who could not be killed and the divine war she left in her wake. Who was Gullveig? A prophetess? A witch? A goddess of gold and ruin? Or was she something far older, something the gods themselves feared? Step now into the world of gods and omens, where fire speaks and gold corrupts. Step into the story of the flame that broke the gods.
She came not with armies, nor with thunder or blade, but with gold, mystery, and power older than the roots of the world tree. From Vanaheim, the verdant realm of the Vanir, where life thrived in endless bloom and ancient magic pulsed through the soil, she emerged. The Vanir, gods of fertility, harvest, and hidden knowledge, were masters of nature and of Seidr, the art of shaping fate. Her name was Gullveig, gold power, gold lust, or gold strength, depending on who spoke it, and whether they spoke it with awe or dread. She did not arrive in Asgard as a guest, nor a prisoner, nor even an enemy. She simply appeared, shimmering in gold, her skin gleaming like the sun on molten metal, her eyes glinting with secrets older than the 9 realms. To the Aesir, the warrior gods of order and might, she was a riddle wrapped in temptation. She did not brandish a weapon, but her words cut deeper than steel. She spoke of riches that could bend kings to their knees. She whispered of fate rewritten, of power bought not by war, but by will. She brought with her the forbidden art of Seidr, witchcraft that allowed the user to see the threads of destiny and to pull them. Odin, the All-Father, hungered for knowledge, but even he, seeker of runes and wisdom, watched Gullveig with caution. The other gods, Thor, Frigg, Tyr, grew uneasy. Her presence seemed to warp the air around her. Wherever she walked, shadows lengthened. Wherever she smiled, whispers followed. She spoke in riddles. Gold clung to her like a curse, and slowly something began to fester in Asgard, an unease, a fear that this woman, this golden witch, could not be trusted. She was not a threat in name, but in nature. She stirred desire in the hearts of the gods. She made them look at one another with suspicion. Her power was not to destroy, but to corrupt. And when the halls of the Aesir trembled with unrest, when the golden laughter of Gullveig echoed too long into the night, the gods acted. The Aesir had seen enough. They seized Gullveig with hands that trembled not from weakness, but from the knowledge that they held something they did not understand. In the great halls of Asgard, before the thrones of gods and the echo of eternity, they condemned her. And then she burned. They cast her into the flames, expecting screams. But there was only silence. The fire licked her golden skin, wrapped her like a lover, and consumed her. She died once, and then she returned. Her ashes stirred, her bones reformed. Her flesh wove itself anew, and from the embers she stepped out, untouched, unbroken, smiling. So they did it again. Twice she died. Twice she rose. They bound her, they cursed her. They poured magic and wrath into the pyre, and yet even the third time the result was the same. From black smoke and blistered sky, Gullveig re-emerged, resplendent. Her body gleamed with a terrible beauty, her eyes now lit with something more than fire, vengeance and knowing. She laughed, and it echoed through the halls of Asgard like a prophecy unspoken. The gods gave her a new name, Heiðr, the Bright One. Not out of reverence, but necessity. For what do you call a flame that refuses to die? She did not remain in Asgard. She descended into Midgard, the world of mortals, spreading her power like embers on the wind. Where she walked, Seidr followed. She taught women to see beyond the veil, to twist fate, to stir desire and dread in equal measure. Men fell into madness. Kings were undone. Mothers whispered her name over cauldrons and cried to her under moonlit skies. Gullveig and Heiðr became more than a woman. She became an idea, a flame that refused the gods, a spark of transformation that spread like wildfire. And in trying to destroy her, the Aesir had lit something far more dangerous than magic. They had kindled a war. The burning of Gullveig did not go unanswered. Far beyond the golden halls of Asgard, in the lush and ancient realm of Vanaheim, word of her execution ignited fury. The Vanir, gods of nature, fertility and magic, saw the act not merely as an assault on one of their own, but as a declaration of arrogance, a rejection of Seidr, and a brutal denial of what could not be controlled. To the Vanir, Gullveig was more than a witch. She was a messenger. Her pain was their insult, her resurrection their cause. And so the Vanir rose, the heavens cracked open as war drums thundered from both sides of the 9 realms. The skies roared with the wing beats of godly beasts. The ground groaned beneath the weight of armies older than time. For the first time in cosmic history, gods would fight gods. The Aesir, proud and strong, wielded weapons forged in fire and rune. Led by Odin the Allfather, they were warriors of storm and spear, masters of order, discipline, and divine right. The Vanir, cunning and mystical, came armed with enchantments, curses, and the raw power of the natural world. They summoned vines that strangled towers and winds that turned arrows to dust. They did not fight with honor. They fought with wisdom, with wildness, with wrath. Spears clashed with spells. Thunder met twilight. Fortresses fell and mountains were split by the rage of immortal beings. The golden walls of Asgard trembled. The fields of Vanaheim burned. Neither side could claim victory. The Aesir, unyielding, were outmatched by the Vanir's magic. The Vanir, though powerful, could not break the Aesir's will. The war dragged on, long, brutal, senseless. And through it all, she watched. Gullveig, reborn, radiant, and renamed Heiðr, became a living emblem of the war's madness. Her story, her fire, her defiance were remembered on every battlefield, whispered by soldiers who did not understand why they fought, only that her name still burned in their minds. She had become more than flame. She had become the spark of chaos itself, a symbol of what happens when fear challenges what it cannot comprehend and strikes too hard, too fast. The gods had torn the world apart, chasing control over a woman they could not possess, a power they could not destroy, and now the realms bled for it. The war could not go on. The skies had cracked, the earth had bled. Even gods, it seemed, could grow weary of endless bloodshed. After untold years of chaos, the Aesir and the Vanir laid down their arms, not from forgiveness but exhaustion. Peace, as always in the realms of gods, came not as a gift, but as a negotiation. To bind the truce, they exchanged hostages, symbols of trust or leverage depending on who you asked. From Vanaheim came Njord, god of the sea and winds, and his children. Freyja, master of fertility and harvest, and Freyja, bearer of love, desire, and Seidr itself, the very magic that had sparked the war. From Asgard, the Aesir sent Hönir, a noble figurehead of impressive stature but indecisive thought, and Mimir, the wise keeper of secrets and the well of knowledge. But not all was well. In Vanaheim, the Vanir soon realized that while Mimir held wisdom beyond measure, Hönir offered little. Suspecting deceit, they reacted with rage, and Mimir paid the price. His head was severed and sent back to Odin, who, grieving the loss of wisdom, preserved the head with runes, keeping Mimir's voice alive through sorcery. It was a fragile peace, a ceasefire held together with oaths, blood, and barely contained resentment. The war had ended, but the wound had not healed. And somewhere beyond the halls of diplomacy and the feasts of false unity, she walked still. Heiðr. Her name was no longer spoken in council. Her story was not carved into stone, but her presence lingered like smoke in sacred halls. She had burned and returned. She had torn gods apart and woven new lines of power between them. She had brought the magic of Seidr into full view, and neither the Aesir nor the Vanir could ever again deny its power. What had started as a woman cloaked in gold had become a force of myth, shaping pantheons, exposing weakness, and changing the very structure of divine rule. The peace was made, but nothing would ever be the same again. In the smoke left behind by war, when the battle cries had faded and the gods returned to their thrones, one question remained, whispered but never answered. Who was Gullveig? A name like a riddle, a presence, like a flame in the dark. Some say she was Freyja, goddess of love, beauty, and Seidr, cloaked in another form, testing the Aesir, teaching them the price of scorning the Vanir's magic. After all, it was Freyja who spread Seidr among mortals and gods alike, and it was she who would come to dwell in Asgard after the war. Others believe she was no goddess at all, that Gullveig was greed incarnate, gold given breath and ambition. That she was a force older than the gods themselves, a primordial spirit from the time before time, when fire met ice in the void of Ginnungagap. A myth within a myth. A woman cloaked in golden mystery, burned not for what she did, but for what she represented. Corruption, obsession, the power of transformation. 3 times they tried to destroy her. 3 times she rose again. The number is no accident. 3, the number of fate, the number of the Norns, the pattern of prophecy itself. In her burning, the gods revealed their fear, not just of her, but of change. Even her names divide like shadows. Gullveig, gold strength. Heiðr, the bright one. 2 sides of a single truth, or 2 beings entirely. Scholars still debate. Skalds still sing in veiled tones. Her tale survives in fragments, lines in the Poetic Edda, broken whispers in the Völuspá, shadowed hints in sagas. Rarely is she spoken of directly. Perhaps they fear to summon her again. But still her influence burns at the edges of myth. Every betrayal among gods, every rise of dangerous knowledge, every clash between worlds, carries the echo of Gullveig's flame. She was not just a woman, she was a spark, a turning point. And long after the ashes cooled, the gods remembered. In every myth there is a heartbeat that never fades. In every fire a spark that refuses to die. And in the story of Gullveig, that spark burns eternal. She came bearing golden shadow. She was not welcomed but feared, not understood but destroyed. 3 times the gods cast her into the flames, and 3 times she rose more radiant, more defiant, more terrifying than before. They tried to silence her, but instead they gave her a voice that echoed across realms. They tried to erase her, but instead they etched her into the bones of myth itself. She did not lead armies, she did not sit on a throne, and yet she brought about the first war of the gods. Why? Because she represented something that even the mighty Aesir could not control: transformation. Gullveig Heiðr, call her what you will, She is the whisper in the dark corners of power, the shimmer of gold that tempts and twists, the seeress whose eyes see what should remain hidden. She is a symbol of every dangerous truth, every forbidden knowledge, every challenge to the order of things. And even now her presence lingers, not in temples or tomes, but in the choices we make, in the risks we take, in the moments we dare to defy the fire that would consume us. This was the tale of Gullveig, the witch, the wanderer, the flame that could not be quenched. And if you listen closely, in the crackle of a candle, in the rustle of old runes, in the quiet after thunder, you may still hear her laugh.
Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe.